Welcome everyone to the Conscious Living Show. And look, it's my great pleasure this morning to welcome to our show a beautiful Buddhist yogini. Her name is Khandro Rinpoche, and she's coming all the way from Tibetan, from the Himalayas of India originally. And she's going to be visiting Conscious Living Expo in Perth. So we're having a chat with her this morning about her mission and her background and her experience as a Buddhist, bringing Buddhist teachings to the West. And I'm just going to read a little bit because she's got a fascinating bio. So Khandro was born in Lahul, which is in the Himalayas in India, and she was born into a family of great Tibetan yogis who were renowned for their extensive pure practice. And the practices were in Vajrayana Buddhism. But because she was in contact with an Australian man called Laurie Seaman, and her parents encouraged this, she was able to attend a Catholic boarding school in Kulu. And from here, she was able to study, but also maintain contact with her family and her culture. She learned English, and then she went on to receive her BA in psychology from Punjab University in India. And then she went on to study at the California Institute of Integral Studies in San Francisco, where she graduated with an MA in East-West psychology. Her family holds the lineage of the Drukpa tradition. Her great-grandfather was a realized master in Dzogchen and Mahamudra. And her father was a widely respected master who was responsible for reviving the Drukpa lineage in Lahul, Ladakh, Manali, Zanskar, and Pangai. And he was also one of the first Dharma teachers to teach Western students. And so you had an amazing lineage that you grew up with, and you've gone on to take that lineage and merge that with living in the world as a married woman, and to bring the teachings to a much wider audience. So what was it like for you growing up in that family with those traditions?
Yeah, I was very fortunate because I got both the side of the Eastern and the Western world. Because while I was growing in India, my parents had left Tibet, and so it was a very chaotic diaspora for our culture. But I was in India, and in India, the modernization has already started. So my parents made sure that I'm equipped for the modern world. So therefore, it was the right timing when an Australian civil engineer there were thousands of Tibetan children's names in Tibetan Friendship Group in Sydney, and they picked up my name. They picked up, and he sponsored my education. In those days, it was difficult because we were just beginning life. Even though they say my family, mother's side, is from a very royal family, Tibetan royal family in Tibet. But when we left the country, we had to leave everything and start all over in India. So it was a very profound time, and to grow up in a Catholic school with a background of a Tibetan, very deep and family lineage, and they made sure that I'm equipped for the both world, and I feel very grateful now because I'm here in the Western world, consumer world, where so many entanglements are there that I can see through them due to all the profound teachings of the Buddhism, which I'm trying to bring live, because also I've studied the Western psychology. So I think I'm like a bridge. And I love
Yes.
coming to things like what you are doing, conscious living, because this is so important now, because we human beings becoming so stuck in this consumerism that we are forgetting to even to learn to live and connect with ourselves, with nature, and we are so locked up in the pace. So therefore, I feel it's a very beautiful thing you're doing.
Oh, thank you. And what would you say is the essential core of the Buddhist teachings that you're practicing and that you're wanting to share with people? Is there any particular essence that you
Sure.
want? I mean, I know there's so much. It's such a rich
Exactly.
tradition
But I
and
think
so
what
many
I
different images.
what
Sorry.
I specify my teaching is mindfulness and very much on the divine feminine, because there are not many female masters from authentic lineage who come out in the world. And in this lifetime, I've decided to be involved in the world and also come back to the essence of the divine energies that I've received from my parents and from my masters, and bring that in a way that the spacing world understands it. So I think that's my job, and I connect very deeply to the divinity of the feminine, because it is becoming very distorted, because everyone, even the women here in the Western world, have so locked up in the pace, and they cannot step back to tap back into their divine feminine energy, which is very pristine, very pure. But if we really tap in the divine feminine, we can transcend everything, if we understand that. And so we need meditation and understanding. And I love chanting, and I have a voice which help many people, and that's what I heard from Westerners. They like my voice.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
You also talk about your mother, who was a big inspiration for you when you were growing up. And so what was it about your mother that inspired you?
And my mother, she was from a royal family, and she practiced a lot, and she was very compassionate, even though her family was tortured by Chinese very drastically.
Really?
My great grandmother was stamped to death, okay, by the Chinese communism. And but my mom always teach us about compassion and never project anger, because that is bad karma. So,
Yes.
and whenever I think of her compassion, then it makes me feel this divine energy she had transmitted within me. And every time I'm in the Western world, I see a lot of anger and a lot of fear. Then I always go into her energy, even though she died in 1985. So I was very young. But sometimes it lives in your cellular body, and you feel it, and then I connect to her blessings, and it really helped me to tap in that the purity
Yes.
of it, rather than get
Yeah.
caught up across. Yeah. So she's very precious to me, because many of my teachings, even though I have studied intellectually, but when I tap into her energy, it brings me life into the action mode, and I'm a very action oriented person.
So what is it about the divine feminine? What are the qualities? Could you describe those qualities or those
Sure. Yeah.
tendencies? Yeah.
Yeah. The divine feminine, according to the Buddhist teaching, is connected to wisdom. Okay. And we say emptiness, which is a emptiness with clarity, not like a empty, blank empty. It is emptiness with clarity and compassion, which radiates, and it is spontaneous energy, and it can be very mystifying. It can be very dynamic, and but also very subtle and gentle and nurturing. So all these qualities of divine feminine is inherent in all male and women. It's not gender oriented, but women's energy has more potential towards it. And if we lose that, then it can be destructive to our planet. So we have to nurture it with care, and that
Yes.
then you pass on to your children and to the next generation.
Yes.
Otherwise, we are born in a female form, it can become very destructive, because we are projecting a lot of anger.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
And
I
also you
transmit,
are.
Patricia, I want to tell you that I transmit a lot through intellectual teaching, but mostly I do from chanting. I do a lot of chanting, which I'm going to share in your,
Yes.
yeah, in your exhibition or
Yes. I'm
whatever.
looking forward to that. Yeah. So that's the tone, the vibration, the sound is carrying that purity, that
Yeah.
the cellular memory, etc., in our bodies and our consciousness is resonating with them, which is it's like a direct transmission, I imagine, of.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
that purity that bypasses the mind and the intellect, because we get so caught up with. I think what attracts me is the simplicity of just that purity, which doesn't require a lot of thinking, or it's not complicated really, but it's something that we're really lacking in our world. You know, it's not valued in our world. That
Exactly. Exactly.
quiet, as you say, just being present and being receptive without taking action
Yes.
necessarily.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the silence is very profound, you know. So what we do in
Mhm.
my culture is, you know, the villagers and everybody will come to the monastery, and they all will. Sometimes they just lie down and just listen, and through
Mm.
the ear door, because it also vibrates through the body and cellular
Yeah.
and atomic and subatomic level, and then
Mm.
it keeps imprints, and then you
Mm.
can clear all the psychological,
Mm.
mental, emotional inhibitions which block us, you
Mm.
know. So then you become liberated and free, and then you can start
Mm.
all over. Otherwise we carry heavy energy, and which
Yes.
distorts your everyday life. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be beautiful.
Yes,
But
yes.
that's not all. You have a lot of projects as well that you're supporting, aren't you? You're supporting eye health and hermitages for women.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a little bit about what you're doing in whereabouts of the project's located.
See, there are a lot of women in our culture who are very deeply evolved spiritual beings, and but due
Mhm.
to you know, many male-dominated energy, so they are not promoted, supported. So I, all the proceeds that come through my work, I
Mm.
have a organization, and I channel to support, and especially children. So like myself, you know, I'm example of a child who needed support, and then I feel the same, that you know, many children, mothers, and you know, parents, they have problems, and the child in the
Mm.
between are you know, not able to uh, have education. So I sent we sent children to school, education, women nursery, hermitages, and also we built what you call establishments for women where they can come and meditate. So with lots of female deities which are not so projected outward, you know. So I have built many
Oh,
temples in the Himalayas, and then
really?
I have yeah, and then I will be promoting my work on sacred treasure. Some of my Western students, they see that it needs a consistent, you know, like funds for sustainability.
Mm.
So I've started Sacred Treasures, where we sell products from the Himalayas, which are handmade by the Himalayan people. So
Yes.
then one of my students, Margaret, and she said that that's a good place to offer. And I love doing healing also, so I will do some
Mm.
healing. Yeah, it's something
Fantastic.
like that. I will integrate everything and make a
Mm.
package so I can really share with the people who come.
Mm. Mm. That's fantastic. And another aspect of your past I was interested in was when you were married, and were you living in Bhutan at the time?
No, I was living very close to Bhutan, and I
Okay.
was serving my late husband, His Holiness Shabdrung, who is very
Mm-hmm.
revered, one of the most revered masters of Bhutan. And His Holiness has many projects, you know. So I was serving His Holiness. In 2003, he passed away. Until the last breath, I served him.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, I am widowed, but a very happy widow, because he lives in my heart, and I'm very happy. I'm married to him forever.
Oh, beautiful. And did you have children as well?
Physically, we didn't have children because we had to support
Mm-hmm.
a monastery with 300 monks and the
Ah,
nunneries. So there's all these Bhutanese kids used to come, and I said, if I have a physical child, I will get lost in just my own child. But I
yes.
decided to dedicate to others, and now it's
Ah,
very easy for me, because if I had my own child, I will be very dedicated. You know, I'm a very dedicated person. So now I have
mm,
so many children, you cannot imagine, and they're all my
mm.
children.
Oh,
And
that's
some
so
of the
beautiful.
children are older than me, many Western students who need
Mm-hmm.
mothering. So I mother them as well. Yeah,
Oh, that's so beautiful. And do you also take groups back to sacred sites in India?
Yes, yes. This is one of my big hobbies. Since I was very small, my parents, in those days, we didn't have cars and things, and then we used to have yaks and horses, and
Mm,
my parents would travel, and monks and nuns, and they carry us
mm,
as child. And those imprints are so strong. So I started to travel back, and I thought Western people, they really need some outlet to see this spiritual, because their
yes.
mind, their life is so trapped in so many things. They don't have cannot step back. And then I started to take them to Himalayas and
Mm,
see my projects for themselves, and also connect to the spiritual sites, so powerful
mm,
sites we have. And I take them not as tourist, but as a pilgrimage. So many people have traveled here from Australia with me. So sometimes to
mm.
Bhutan, sometimes to Ladakh, we do go to the caves. And also I do some healing ones, because like Tibetan medicines and and Ayurveda have so much
Mm-hmm.
root in the very deep
Yes.
healing for negative poisons of our own mind. Because the
Yes.
mind to body, when our mind is trapped in anger and negative emotions, then our body is getting locked. So there is a
Mm.
modality of healing. So I take, and we go herb collecting, and sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
go to Ayurveda in South India and do massage and healing, because my own
Mm.
body, because my family, they came from Tibet, and I'm diabetic. And since I went to South India, yeah, I am deleting all the Western medicine, and
Mm-hmm.
just healing my body from a very deep tissue level. So I thought I must share. So many Westerners are coming, and people with many problems are getting healed. So that makes me very happy. And mentally, when they come to the
Yeah.
Himalayas, see live what I'm teaching, and then they feel another layer of healing. And then when they come back home, they become more conscious, as you say, conscious living. They become more
Mm.
conscious
Mm.
about their way of life, and trying to give space and openness. And I've seen big changes. I have many students who have changed, young and little girls here in the West. I'm talking about East is a different. They have problem due to maybe lack of food, lack of family, not enough. But here is suffering of having too much,
Yes.
and there's another kind of suffering. So here in the West, many children I'm helping, because
Mm.
their families are splitting up, and then the
Mm.
children don't get the holding. And I've seen, the moment you give the inner deep holding, the children are blossoming. I have some students, young ones, last 15 years I've been in Australia. Big changes in the children and young people, schizophrenics, mental
Wow.
problems. Yeah, changing a lot. I have some
Mm.
students that's living with me here in Perth, and you should see how they have changed with drugs
Wow.
and many problems. So I feel that Buddhism is not a religion, it is a way of life. And when we go
Mm.
into the essence of the Buddhist teachings, it really imprint your mind and
Mm.
unlock,
Mm.
all the traps in our mind. So therefore, it has been very effective. And I don't like big gatherings. I do very small, intimate teachings.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. I think, what do you think is the main problem that's facing us today in the West, in the world?
See, in the Western world, the biggest problem is our mind has become too busy,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole conditioning of a consumer world, not giving
Yes.
any space.
Yes.
Yeah, and then your physical, mental, emotional body. We don't only have physical is only 10% of you. Okay,
Mm.
and even scientifically, 70% of your body is water element. So when we are only working with 10% and think this is me, then you are making big harm to yourself.
Mm.
Because now
Mm.
tomorrow, this weekend, I will be doing in Yangchep, I'm going to do a practice with the water element, ocean.
Ah.
Yeah, I'm going to do Naga Puja, which is that's why now we have so many diseases like cancer and all of this. And in the
Mm-hmm.
Buddhist text, it says, because we are disturbing the water element, which is 70%. You look at the animals in the water, how much we are just taking and never giving back. So it
Yes.
disturbs the nagas, and the spirits. So I will be doing a
Mm.
special practice. And all over Australia, I have started Sydney. My students, we do sunrise meditation every
Mm.
Friday. everywhere I have on Friday. Yeah, early morning, Australia, so beautiful nature and power and the spirits, we need to awaken them to support us
Yes.
because we think we are
Yes.
just like, we are not connecting to the subtle nature of ourselves. So I do a lot of ritual.
And can you talk a little bit about those subtle energies in connection to the land and the
Oh,
elements?
yes, a lot. I will be doing prayer flag ceremony, which is connected to the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, and space. Okay, and these 5 elements we have to keep because there are subtle bodies and subtle spirits which are part of this weekend I did a Amitabha Buddha empowerment here in my home. We have lots of Bhutanese people here in Perth. They come here also.
Yes.
So I was doing meditation of Buddha Amitabha, which is connected to the desire realm, the consumer world. Okay. So in my lineage, we have special connection to Amitabha Buddha, and that when we awaken Amitabha Buddha, then our minds of discriminating wisdom, which is connecting to mindfulness, come awaken. And then we can make a difference on our planet. But if we just nowadays in the West, I'm saving the planet, they go here, there, but not doing anything in action. As Buddha Shakyamuni said, if the whole world is full of thorns, you cannot cover the whole world with leather, but you can, your own feet, you can. So we have to start with our, because
Yes.
if you're mindful with your own compassionate heart, then everything is possible. But if you keep going here and there and not connecting to yourself, then it won't be so effective. It could be, but it won't be so effective. So this teaching help us to awaken ourselves. Then when we are connecting to ourselves, we can connect to the earth, we can connect to our children, our family, then it keeps expanding until you are Buddha.
Yes. So
And
do
spirits,
you think?
Aboriginal, I just, Patricia, since you are very conscious about the Aboriginal, I'm doing a lot of work with Aboriginal people also. And the Aboriginal people here in Australia, and they are so connected to the land, And when,
Yes.
so when when we connect to the spirits,
Yes.
then the spirits are part of our existence. Here now in the Western world, we have become so compact with our own very physical aspect of ourselves. But in our culture, we include the spirit world. And I heard when my great grandfather used to give teachings, the spirits used to come. We were, our naked eyes cannot see, but then there will be so many gifts on the table brought from the spirits, which is in our family heirloom till to this day we have it. So you can imagine there are so many world forms and animal realm which is part of our existence, and we human being become so selfish. So this self-cherishing mind is a poverty mentality, and that is big problem now. So we teach compassion to counteract
Yes.
it.
Yes, I understand. So it's not so much making, saving the planet through recycling or going on protest marches, but it's more about internally attuning to the connection with the spirits of all the elements and of attuning to the nature of all of life. Is that more important and has more effect than all the other,
The other things are good also. I can't say that it's something bad, but if you have understanding of deeper, then
yeah.
from that deep place you connect, there is good, then you know your
Yes.
placement, and you won't be struggling in a painful state, like, oh, I have to save the world, and you feel so small in that, but this
Yes.
is not the way we have to save the world. When we are saving the
Yes.
world, when we save ourselves, we know, oh, we are Mother Earth, we are water element. So if we connect deeply there, and then from that place you come into action, is power action. But if you go from
Yes.
a poverty mentality and think so small and then want to help the big, from the big you have to help the small, not from the small help the big, because then you will feel so small in that and claustrophobic mind. And that is what we have to counteract. Otherwise we won't be able to use our full potential, which is
Yes.
very important for us to recognize, and then
Yes.
recognize, and then not get frozen, relax. After relax you will release, and after release you will rejoice. I often give 4-hour teaching, but this is very secret, okay?
Yes.
Only for you, Patricia. Just because of you, I'm saying that these are deeper teachings, but I thought it's important to connect because I love your conscious living the word.
Thank you. Well, that is our vision for this event, to really bring people together and to connect people to themselves, but to everybody, to all the elements. And so I believe that together, through our collective wisdom and our collective alignment, that we can create and co-create a better world. But we have to first connect to that, and to rise above our differences. Our individual pathways are valid and good, but we need to, I think, rise above that, to focus on the one core that unites us all, that we all belong to the one source of creation. And if we operate from that higher perspective, then we can transform everything, that we can create an enlightened planet. So I think your coming here is very important, and your presence is going to give people, an example, a way, because I think we still need to learn and learn from others, and follow, not necessarily copy, but see these as models that we can be inspired by, and then find our own way of being that, true to oneself. Yeah.
When you say conscious living, because like in Buddhist teaching, we are not dead bodies, we are alive, we are conscious.
Yes.
That's the mind, which we call it's mindfulness, because
Yes.
mindfulness makes the mind conscious, because
Yes.
either we are mind LESS or we are mind FULL. So this
Yes.
is the obstacle, so we have to connect. Buddha Shakyamuni's teaching is all about mindfulness, but mindfulness nowadays, it is like a fashion. It's not supposed to be a fashion. It is a
No.
living energy within yourself. And
Yes.
nowadays, like everything else, trendy. And this
Yes.
is not right to think about trendiness, because then they will, after a little while, they'll forget it. And
Yeah.
this mindfulness cannot be fashion. It is inherent. It has to be with you day and night. And then if we are connect to that source, everything we can change. But it cannot be a
Yes.
trendy process.
Yes, I totally agree. It's like we've made it into an object, it's another
Absolutely.
product.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
I think that's why.
many of the Buddhist masters are saying nowadays, because Buddhism, mindfulness is actually come from the Buddhist teachings. Buddha Shakyamuni is the master of the mindfulness, and now they are in every Tom, Dick, and Harry is using mindfulness and never quoting the Buddha. And if we have to write something, we have also has to quote people who haven't even done meditation for 10 days properly, and they write a book,
Yes.
and then we have to make quotation. That's why Buddhist great masters don't even want to write books anymore. Because Buddha Shakyamuni has brought us the biggest teaching, and he never said he is a god. He said, I am a human being just like you and me, but I have consciously connected to the heart
Yes.
core of universal love. And if you follow, you will also awaken. It's all about awakening.
Yes. Yes. I totally agree. I think it's wonderful that you're here, and I can't wait to experience the chanting.
Okay.
And also, I believe that you're also a very good cook. So
Yeah, I love cooking. Sometimes I do Himalayan cooking classes, but at this time I don't have time. My brother also very good cook. My brother, because my family, my great grandfather, one of the greatest yogi of Tibet, he started in the monastery as a cook, and he became enlightened through cooking.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
cooking is very
wonderful.
powerful. We are eating, connecting to Mother Earth through the
Yes.
process of food.
Yeah, yeah. And so you're in Perth at the moment. Are you? Are people invited to come to your blessings that you're doing?
Yeah,
Or are
this
they private?
weekend I'm doing something in Yangcha, but like people can come. but not too many people, because I don't have so much space, because I'm very intimate, you know.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that's why I come to your thing, so that I can share something. And then I went to Mind, Body, Spirit in Sydney, and I shared
Yes.
chanting. But then the deeper teachings, I like to be intimate, because if it becomes too public, then you cannot contain the beauty of the essence, you know. So I have
Yes.
very good students all over Australia who practice with me,
Yeah.
but I don't want to be too public.
So people can go onto your website to find out
Yes.
how to connect with you.
Yes.
So I'll
And
put that up
some
on.
of the things, some small things I'm doing in Perth. But on
Mhm.
Sundays, I have meditation in one Generise, Duncraig. This is my home, and people who are really interested in meditating can come if they want. Okay, but I don't want
Beautiful.
too many people who just are coming to test what is Buddhism, and that's not necessary for me, you know. And people
Yes.
who really feel that don't to process the Buddhist teaching, then I will give layers of teachings. But I will be selling some my chanting and CD, which are meant for public, and some are very
Oh,
intimate and meant only for practitioners. So I do it very different way.
beautiful. So look, it's been such a pleasure. I am so looking forward to meeting you in person. And thank you for sharing everything that you do and who you are with us. And so Kandra will be at Conscious Living Expo, October 25 to 27. She will be, they'll be having a booth where you can buy all kinds of beautiful products from the Himalayas. And also, I believe you're going to do some healings, as well as some chanting, and a wonderful talk about the role of feminine, the feminine in spirituality, which I'm really looking forward to. So I think you're a wonderful example of a feminine leader in spirituality, and so much that we can learn, and so much wisdom
Yeah,
that you
look in my
carry. I
website
think,
and please try to come to Himalaya. My schedules are already done, especially Bhutan and
yes,
Ladakh,
I would
and
love to come to
all the
Bhutan.
schedule for next year is already done. So Patricia, you must come. I want to take you with
I'm
me.
coming. I've always wanted to
Okay.
go to Bhutan.
Okay. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thank you.
And many blessings. I'll chant one
Thank you.
mantra for you actually.
Thank you.
Om Om Benzanguru Pema Siddhi Om Om Benzanguru Pema Siddhi Om. Thank you. How do you put this off? You can do it, yeah?